Now we talk about today's subject, right? Cement plant digitization. And of course, it's a mixed term. We call it digitization, digital transformation, digitalization, right? So three different acronyms, those are being used. And in the due flow, we would get to see how they connect together. So at a brief, if somebody say, okay, what is the digitization at plant level, right? And our subject matter is the plant, not the company headquarters. As a cement company, you would have an ERP, have a procurement system, perhaps many other digital technologies. But our subject matter is the plant level. That what is the best available at the manufacturing facility at the cement plant level, including their mine site, all the operations there, and how could it transform it? So, in a simpler way, it's a process where all the people who work across the plant in various roles, right from the bottom of the value chain till the top management at the plant level, all get connected to the information. So that is one of the most powerful information. But those means aren't available today. And that's where we see the definition of digital transformation established. What are the means, processes, and how do we get them connected? And looking at that, it goes in the various value and data streams. If we look at that, how do we connect the IIoTs, PLCs, the sensors, the CCR data, the quality information in XRF, XRD systems, and how about your enterprise systems, be it SAP or any other ERP? So the fusion of that information is really what defines the beginning of digitization. Having all that information seen together is the step one, because that creates a different value chain of information to the decision makers, be it at the plant level, department level, or the cross-department information. But that is what the beginning of the process of optimization, productivity gains, and everything connects from there. In the top running plants globally, if we see, okay, which are the best running cement plants in how they are taking advantage and able to produce the better quality cement in lower cost, running more smooth operations, and their plant teams are working efficiently, living more qualitative life. And that's where, the information plays a major role. People are less stressed, delivering more value at the same time, and that information comes through the backbone of digitization, where we connect the various information pockets and put them together for the better decision making, be it the approvals, the productivity details, the real-time visibilities, or the instant information access. And it would have various segments in the plants. But at the broad level, that's what defines top best running cement plants in today's time. The plants which would take a larger and massive growth in future would need to have a stronger digital backbone. So if you look on this in a different perspective, the company leadership typically has access to the enterprise systems. They have the various reports around. But how do we get them cohesively working with the plant management and the top leadership? Right? How do we get the best quality information so our decisions are more accurate and in line to our product vision? The four of these areas are really the building blocks of it. As we see, the mobile device uses across departments. Those are local language mobile apps. You could have it in Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, So that creates a very powerful access point to everybody. People directly get connected with that. And that phone or the mobile apps are connected to pretty much all the needed information, irrespective of the definitions, whether it's an ERP, it's an PLC data, it's an IoT data, it's a paper register data in your quality systems, or your safety zone meetings, or the information in your headquarters, the procurement team data, the supply chain information, all of that information without the differentiation of their acronyms. It is available in the simpler manner, and wherever I am in the plant, it is available to me. It is transforming because I'm not bound to a certain system or a desktop station or a place where I would get the relevant information and then I would conduct my day. So it frees up your key people from sitting in their desk, going in the offices versus having them more available for the real work. Today, they sit in their cabins to digest the information. And that leaves them away from the real happening at the plant, where they could observe the processes, they could have more value decisions in time. And in that process, the real-time SLA is the number 2 we see in our list, tracking and alerting. If something is not going okay and we have the people for supervision, all it matters is the information always delivered to them in the simplest manner. And that's what this transformation achieves. Along with that, I see a lot of folks joining. So Chairman, thank you for joining. Of course, our webinar has started. You could have recordings available at a later stage if you would like to go back to the prior details. So thank you for everybody for joining. And then we talk about the connected data systems, ERP, IoT, PLC. This is the massive information blocks. But there's a lot of hidden information on everyday basis collected in these pockets of systems and kept in their own areas. So when we look at a 30,000 feet view, that okay, how do we transform our plant for a higher productivity? How do we drive our costs down? How do we become more competitive? But all that information is hidden within those data pockets. And the question comes, how are we going to reach it? Right? How we bring that information in a human digestible manner, which is available in real time so we can make appropriate decisions. And that's the part of digitization. And of course, the emitting the paper registers, files, Excels, and having them get rid of, have that connected to central information where all that paper forms, registers, diaries goes away and becomes more digital. Be it your quality record keeping, with the safety meetings, routine plant meetings, so much more goes on the paper. In theory, management provides systems, but those systems are more enterprise-centric. So the deeper plant operations still goes on the paper. And within those papers are hidden inefficiencies, the hidden issues which is impacting the overall performance of your plant or the division. And that is our target here. So one of the digitized way, if we see that today, all the plant management meeting happens, meetings within the company leadership and the plant, meetings within the each and every safety zones, the crusher having its own meetings, the CPP, the raw mill, all the areas when they are connecting and having their day-to-day information logging, they do talk about safety, the issues coming today or the prior follow-ups. But all that is maintained in an Excel or a paper register. And that makes an issue. How do you take item from that register to some other department? An issue which is part of a mechanical or perhaps an issue which is part of a packaging plant but it does connect to the other crushing area, how would you communicate that? You can communicate, but how would you document it? How would you ensure that it has been fixed? The corrective action is taken, it has taken in the time. Or if it needs the higher plant management visibility on it, or perhaps their supervision on it. So in real time, many of such issues and problems remain in the plant as there are no efficient means to bring it forward. But the latest tech is very powerful there. If you digitalize those daily plant meetings, systems automatically keep track of open items, discuss issues, the responsibilities, even the transfer from one department to other. And it automatically moves the dirty laundry items to the higher management. If I give you an example, like there is an issue coming maybe in the crushing area. In the morning safety meeting, one of the operators or perhaps supervisor made a request that hey, this problem is lying here. The person gonna write it down on the paper sheet and it is kept there. But what after it? Maybe that issue need to be handled by a different department, or perhaps it require a more attention from the plant management, do something more. But there are so many items across the plants, who would take them forward? Well, the information system will take it care of automatically. When we deploy the latest machine learning algorithms, it eventually identifies the value and keep track of such dirty laundry items that in future when they become a larger issue, it helps them fix in time, on time with the lower cost. And this is one of the major value. We have a project going on in India where the complete plant information layer is digitized and it brings in massive value back. In terms of technology, when we look at that, okay, so what are the means, like how do we define it? We got various systems at our plants, and we have so many things. We got SAP and we got PLC, we have Siemens, FLSmith, we have ABB. So do we still need it? Okay. And that's where we really see it. The digitization comes on top of it. Having ERP automation systems is definitely needed 20 years back. But today's time is about process improvement. It's not about the basic building blocks. So if we look on that, the ERP to CCR integration, where the key information coming, right? What is your material movement? What is your production? And how much your production is collaborating to your power consumption, how your power plant is performing in respect to the production. All that information is tied together in CCR. It has those real value-add information coming on the routine basis. Your ERP has all the bill of materials, plans, all the production information. So when those two pockets mix together, the visibility of information is much stronger. And then comes the cloud computing. Right? How do you achieve the most cost affordability? And the cloud provides you that. It's a pay-per-use. The company only spend when they really get the value. Otherwise, there's a zero cost for them. So it is really makes easier for the plants and the decision makers to move to the cloud journey. So it gives them a lot of advantages. And then comes the latest technology, the human brains being transferred in their own logical thinking to the AI/ML systems. These neural systems continuously working and reading that information. And they find the pattern and keep improving those patterns creates opportunity where they are putting together more stronger value information that any possible human being could put together. And it could be deployed in many different areas. So those are some of the key areas. And then of course, the mobile ops. It gives the access because those plants are carbon emission plants. So they are always outside the typical city and urban areas. Having timely internet, continuous internet availability is always a bit of a challenge. So you having the technology, but at the same time, it is completely offline using the means of mobile apps. Together, this creates a very good opportunity. Now, the basic information, like here we are looking at an example, we're creating a PR process. And I apologize, I think my screen is a little funny information. But what we see here, once we take the step one, that no more paper record keeping, we are digitizing this process. Right? So there are no files, registers. Once that step is taken, no information loss. You're not going to lose the paper. Once it is recorded in the cloud systems, it isn't going anywhere. No late entries because it is in real time. You could do it through the tablets, mobile phones, or any desktop. And because this information is available in real time, so that's where the process improvements start. When you had a thing in the register, you will change a page after page, and the human brain will get very little out of it. But when the systems put together all that information cohesively, you will be able to get a daily summary, daily MIS, get all those records in an Excel file delivered to your email, automatically log that information in the core systems, and improve the lead times. And this has been dramatically successful wherever it is deployed. The customers who move to this process, they are very, very efficient. The teams who are looking more team members, more hirings, they are able to do much better job with the tech. So if we look on the system here, we got few data points. And these data pockets is kind of defining in different segments, right? Those are more of independent routine information kept. Like very top, it has the walls of automation, and those are having all the PLCs, SCADA systems, and the plant data management system. You could have FL Smith, ABB, Siemens, or any other. And that information zone is a one set of information. On top of that, you might have a latest IoT devices connected to gearboxes or motors. And then enterprise is having its own systems that include the ERPs, the CRMs, and then enterprise data management systems. The quality process is running with your XRF, XRD systems, and then the manual testing records kept in Excel files, reports, as well as paper registers. Daily plant meetings. And then the transactional flow at the plant level, material consumptions, the daily material requests, goods issues, goods receipts, reservations, spare parts reservations, approvals around that. The typical plant asset management, inspections, maintenance, procurement. So those are in time a lot of information flow within the plant teams. But a major portion of it is either on Excels, email, or paper. And at end of the day, or perhaps in a week, it is back flushed to the ERP systems, be it SAP, S4HANA, ECC, or any other system. And that is the value point we looked at. Okay, today there are means to digitize that. Once we do that prior step, now that's the reaping point, right? Once you have information connected, the systems in place, this drastically changes how the plant operations has been running. It empowers the supervisors, the plant managers, department GMs, all the process team, mechanical, electrical, instrumentation, all of the departments. They get their insights, easier means to flow the information. And then they are able to track their lead times, how efficiently they are working. They have opportunity to see their prior work for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and that gives the option, okay, what we could do better. The number 3, instant management reach. Now this is one of the big issues, because your process engineer want instant approval, but as a plant manager, you are in a meeting and he's not going to interrupt you. And of course, it's a critical need. It might impacting the production. Maybe it's a bad batch happening, or there is a intermittent shutdown required at a particular block. But then he's going to wait for your approvals, or this could be in any means, and that delays the process. What if a mobile app notification coming to you, and while you seek it there, or even at a different department, on a tab you know the required information and give the instant approval through the mobility. And those are the opportunities once the information backbone is created. This is where really it brings the value back. And then we start looking, okay, so how do we achieve the higher productivity at a better cost, and still our people are working more efficiently and less stressed? And that is the backbone of information which is giving the new operating models. How the departments has been communicating, functioning, or the decision making happening. You kind of, empowering it with the data-enabled decision making. There are many benefits, but if we simply summarize that, it goes in a sense, of course, cost reduction. This is one of the paramount factor of digitization. To stay competitive, to make sure that you are making a better quality cement and product than your peers, and still you are able to make it at a reduced cost. The additional factor is the waste reduction. As all the procurement journey, material management, all the GI, goods issued, goods received, transfer at the plant level, all the scrap items, when that information is tracked, is a part one. But when the machine learning systems run the audits, that's where the waste reduction happens. To identify the opportunity where material wastage is happening, either work in process inventory, the wastage in the process of how the information flows, and then it becomes the collaboration. People are not struggling for the information. Your team members are not saying, we didn't know that, or there was no awareness about it, or we knew the fact after the damage happened or the loss happened. You eliminate that opportunity, because people have information anywhere, anytime. And ultimately it brings the transformation, the process transformation, where the lead times reduced between the departments to achieve certain objectives. And I'm gonna go over a case example of a procurement cycle, right? How the process transformation happens in that. So these are some of the example points here. If we look on that, these are the ready to utilize modules. It just takes just few weeks to get benefited from the technology and have them deployed at your plant level. They come within the multiple languages across the features, be it the fuel optimization, the health and safety at the plant level, the store activities, digitization, entire maintenance process digitization connected to the IoT devices, the PLC data feed, so it can run automatic schedules of service, or the walk-by inspections, the life cycle of procurement, where pretty much everybody could do a material request and track its end-to-end closure. And that becomes one of the major value add, because you could open a request and you could keep tracking it just through your phones. And then to the management, there are a lot of insights given. So this is a different way of presenting kind of same connected information. Typically, if you analyze your plant, from top to bottom, it has 3 blocks. Right? The first is automation layer on the very top left. And next to that is a plant data management systems. And then the third and the rightmost block is ERP softwares, or more of an enterprise level softwares. And they are spread between the plant and the company headquarters. Now, in this combination, today's cement industry is functioning for past 15-20 years. The middle layer, plant data management, is still one layer on top of automation systems. It has a bit more information, analytics, but still very much restricted to the domain of automation layers. It does not go out of it to paper registers, to Excel, to the people, to the new IoT devices, or anything more beyond that. And it also doesn't get very well aligned to the other core enterprise systems. Be it your SAP S/4HANA, ECC, for CRM, if you're using Salesforce, Jopo, Dynamics 365, whichever it is, and then the communication layer. And connected information has a much more value. If your customer reported that their cement isn't having the right strength, now do you have a way to track it down and link it back to the production batches to ensure that, okay, where it happened, and track it back to the quality process where you could see, okay, those batches has compromised XRF, XRD results, or the manual testing result, or the cube testing results. And how could you make sure that does not repeat? So that's the value we are talking today. We're kind of connecting them across by giving a simpler application layer. A very simple way to human digest information, but still in the background, a strong information connect. And no plant has it today, unless they have recently put to technology layer. JRS Innovation is the only company in India who's bringing this digitization, where all these connected layers are done in the cost-effective manner, where our teams go at the cement's plant, do the assessment, do the discoveries, and work with the plant team to bring these transformations. This is another way to look at the same information. So if we see here, 4 blocks we see. One is around just the complexity, and it's just the information point. But if we look on the very left side, we see thousands of tags, long wires, kilometers of running from packaging, clinker, raw mill, crusher, pretty much all the area. And then you have your own captive power plant. So thousands of tags coming every minute. They are having movements or data coming through them. That's the one complexity layer in itself, and that's the reason CCR is limiting till that point. From that place, it is going through the IO control. You have the SCADA, DCS, and that's pretty much it. The very first block on the left. And then there is another block around the assets which are running on the left, how we are maintaining their upkeep, right? How we are ensuring they are well kept, they are healthy, and they are timely maintained. All that information is kept in the Excel planning. Executions have beautiful Excel spreadsheets with a lot of macros of smart people are putting good information. And then at the end of the week or once in a month, you are back flushing in SAP PM. Open the order, create a notification. All you would care for is that the materials, parts used are accounted for. What is the cost and which equipment is touched? And that's the only value goes to the ERP. Then if you look on the top right, that's around the quality process. You have your XRF, XRD results coming every hour. And of course, they are writing in the Excel files, CCR and the quality teams both share that. And that's the level of information keeping. Or when the material and sample coming from the mine site, those are handled in the traditional ways. They write down the piece of paper from which mine site it is coming, and then maintain their basic in-process quality steps. Even there aren't mechanisms to ensure that every hour manual sampling happens at the hoppers after the primary crusher, secondary crusher, or the raw mill areas. How we are recording them, there are gaps. Because you write the information, you would go and fetch the samples in the bright sunny day, but you wouldn't go on a rainy night. So you're gonna be skipping that quality process for a few hours, couple hours. And if the lime mix is compromised, or the fly ash is different, or the gypsum is different, ultimately the cement quality will be compromised momentarily. And when those products are going out in the market, a section of your loyal customer would feel cheated that, hey, this product hasn't been what it used to be, or somehow the quality is severely deteriorated. And those are the ripple effect of not having those inline systems, where your sales team is working day, night and hard, and they got the customer. And some of these quality slips, process slips, having them bad experiences eventually. And this feedback never comes back because it's a broken process. How do we apply the technology in that we bridge this information gap and tighten it up in a way? So that's another opportunity zone that, okay, how do you apply the transformation here? And even better to move it to the SAP QM if you have it, and tie it down to the bill of material, to the production planning, and even to pretty much all the material procurement part, the quality of your vendors' materials. All of that information could be tied together. If you're doing a batch production in manufacturing and you have a batch list, it's gonna be even much better because you could always protect your brand value and the quality of the product. And then comes around, of course, for the headquarters, for the company leadership, a lot of smart people work. They create daily MIS, KPIs, and then able to over the email. And everybody working fantastic and very hard. But where is the value? Is that the best achieved today? Is our plant is the most optimized plant, so we are running the highly qualitative product as a greater margin? Well, if that's the case, then yes, the plant would grow, the company would grow. But if it is not taking that lead, these are the opportunities. All these blocks hide the opportunities for the plants to grow or the overall companies. Examples are much easier, but the intent is the hidden opportunities. These processes need to be met. Assessment of digitization. Once that assessment happens, we have clear visibility. Okay, what are the value points where we would start achieving one after another? Jim, and I still see a lot of people joining. Well, thank you, people, but I believe you have missed bunch of information. The session is recorded. You could certainly reach one of our team members and they should be able to get you a copy of it. And thank you again for joining, for everybody who was spending time. Do put your questions in the chat, please. We would like to make sure we can get the answer to you. Not right away, we would come back later, but certainly we will cater each and every question. So I think we talked enough around the SAP, but it is all about that whatever is in that box, you have liberty to take it to each and every of your team members without deploying additional licenses, without putting any extra effort on your core SAP system. We connect it in a way that there is no changes happen on your ECC box or on S/4HANA. And that really comforting for any customers because the technology is just coming plug and play on top of it. Now, this is the one new thing. I personally feel very excited about it because it does help a lot of people, especially around the maintenance management teams, the planning teams who are looking around the asset management, the health of assets. These are very low cost options in today's time. If you look at a gearbox, which is running your primary crusher, I'm sure it's a very valued device, and the cost of a broken gearbox is much more higher than you would find a bunch of IoT devices in that. So in that regard, it is quite impactful to deploying those sensors. For example, here, if a wireless vibration sensor is being put, which is taking both axle information and able to quickly analyze the changes in the vibrations, and it can give us the in-time alert that maybe the foundation is loose or perhaps it requires further lubrication or what are the root cause, right? Even in middle of night it happens, 3 a.m. When the gearbox is not performing well or the motor is giving signals. Instead of having that part broken down into a breakdown or a higher cost, your team would have opportunity to react. Even if they do not react in time, there are SLAs to keep informing the higher and higher level that there is a CPR issue being reported. On this machinery, these are the readings, these are the vibration ranges, these are the potential root causes. So this is certainly, I would recommend that if you do not have those really cheap devices, you're kind of missing on a greater opportunity. Because simply you're getting that how your bearings are doing and valued information. And just within a year of your routine maintenance, you would be able to save much more than the cost of those IoT device deployment. And our team does it great work. They deploy it with the very well quality IoT devices. We have made in America devices which are very rugged, have a much higher warranty, and they make sure it does what is expected. And of course, you would have the access on the mobility to track all of that information. What are the time range, what are the vibrations, what is the temperature, all the required parameter around that. So I think I would take a little brief pause. We have 15 minutes left in the webinar. I would run 3 more slides, and perhaps if you have a question, do put it in chat. Or certainly you could reach our team members. You would get a thank you email. So if you have any questions, feel free to reply back and engage with our team. Or if you require a copy of this presentation, certainly you would have it. Now, this is around the asset transformation part, where through the mobility, your team members are able to track. They are able to do daily walk-by inspections using mobile apps, record the findings of their walk-by inspections, simpler checklist, and they can put the pictures, voice notes, have the signatures. And then the assets has IoT sensors deployed on that, while that is bringing the health information and a continuous monitoring on that, be it holidays or nights. And then the machinery usage. The machinery usage could be really captured by the PLC integration. How much? So based on the condition monitoring, based on the utilization, a well-scheduled maintenance could be running. And those maintenance cycles are most cheaper options, cost-effective options, because those are condition-based maintenance and monitoring. And then for the executives, there is a deeper summary being provided by the background connectivity. Now this is one complex screen. I know it's not gonna be easy because there are so many boxes and colors. But if you take it as an example, right? This is how a typical planning phase works. If I'm putting a maintenance work order, be it for a breakdown or a routine repairs, or it's a plant maintenance, perhaps a plant shutdown maintenance, whichever it is. Typically, the planning people will go through these hoops. They would be making a parts reservations. If you are using SAP, those reservations will happen there. Or if those spare parts not available, it's gonna go ahead and need to request a purchase requisition that's gonna turn into a purchase order. And when the vendor sends the material, you would be doing the receiving at the plants, doing the quality of that, and ultimately utilizing that, ensuring the warranty is being tracked on that, old scrap materials has been recorded, and tracks entire process where we are inefficient. The maintenance work, which typically takes 12 days, just 1 or 2 days goes by in getting approvals on it. Or the line clearance and the work permit approval, they take quite a bit time. And then when you look at it at a higher level, you find that, hey, this could be done in perhaps within 4 hours than 4 days. It's just a matter of not putting those SLAs. Or the communication between the store and the departments. If mechanical engineer or department need to get some spare parts, they do not need to go wait and call. The mobile technology is much simpler. We all experience, even for a smaller item delivery, there are no surprises. You get precise information. So instead of your team members having them waste time in the process coordination, calling, waiting on people, it's much easier to give them information, access what they need, and they're gonna be running more efficiently in that process. I know this wouldn't be bringing much ease by looking at these screens, because they intend to be more workshop or the assessment oriented, where we go in details and take one process at a time. But this is just a flavor of it, that if you're looking on the optimization and the process transformation, how simply technology achieves it. And these are the real value points. When we deploying it, what value we are getting. So if you look on the management side, how management get empowered, how they become more integral part of routine decision making. They have a better insight, while all those lead times are tracked. If person is using mobile app and he did a daily walk-by inspection, and as soon as he submitted his findings, the timestamp is locked. And then when the maintenance planner started working on it, what is the lead time, right? Issue submitted this afternoon, and when the maintenance planner started working on it, how long it took for them. Right? Once the planner put the right request, made the reservations, how long it took to get the materials. If the materials aren't available and the procurement need to happen, what is the net cycle in it? And then comes the final conclusion of the maintenance. It could be a routine preventive maintenance cycle. If today it's a 4 weeks or 6 week cycle, and that means you would have to hold additional inventory, spend more money on keeping maybe not necessary items, but just it is so treacherous, you always want to safeguard it. Or there is a less confidence in the process, so the team members wanted what they really need without waiting on this process. Right? And that's where a lot of inefficiencies start happening as the trust gap is not established. The SLAs hasn't been working, or those are not being tracked. But with the technology, the artificial intelligence and machine learning systems automatically work on each of these lead times. They deliver the SLA reports and with the right information attached to it, which is irrefutable and which brings the larger insight across all the team members. So these are some of the greater examples that how simply and easily a transformation can be achieved. And so to everybody, I think we just have 8 minutes, and I would, in respect of everybody's time, we would finish it within the time. At this point, you do have a question or two in front of you. If you would share your opinion, it is a value add for all of us to know how our industry is doing. So I would request to all of you, please respond to the poll questions, so you would get to know about, in general, the positioning of industry. We do have a global audience in the webinar, so I think it would be a greater mix if you respond to those items. And I would be taking a question or two. So if you have a certain question, do put it in chat. So Mr. I have a question that you have highlighted a product, iFactory mobile app. Is that a ready to use app with relevant workflow? Yes, that's correct. It is a ready to use mobile app which is being done for your specific plant implementation. So the mobile app would be coming with your plant name. In the background, it has the iFactory product. And it does connect to your legacy systems. It's a ready-to-use integrations. When we talk about plant-specific processes, yes, it does connect utilizing the OPC compliant layer. So if you have an OPC server, data historians, the tag systems, it does connect to them. Along with that, the traditional routes of connecting information. So if you have further questions, I would encourage we can have a session with one of the experts and go further in the details. How would you get the value from QM, PM, and PM? Okay, let me take another question. Then Mr. Anand is saying, can you give an example of implementation? Yeah, let me share one. I think I should have done that. All right, I'll show you one example here, and that is a PR process. So we're still very much within our time frame we requested from everybody. So I'm just gonna quickly share that. Now in this example, what we are looking that a mobile app, for example, XYZ cement plant, which is the mobile app comes with your plant name. So all your team members associate and download it from Google Play Store. And in the background, it does connect to your enterprise systems. So in this example, say one of your team members is doing a PR process. So he's going through his mobile phone and defining what plant or site what material request he's creating, putting the details of that, and then finally submitting it from his mobile app. Right? Now, before it goes to SAP, right now it's going in SAP. I just want to show you one more thing. So if we compare it with the traditional channel, what you see on the screen is the latest value add. Because traditional systems do not have opportunity to capture the pictures, take the voice notes, the signature, GPS location, how it helps. Well, today, if you're a person sitting in the headquarters and a procurement requirement come, a purchase requisition request came, and he would like to see, okay, what do you want? If it is a traditional material, I'm okay. But if it is something new, if it is a new vendor item, new material, it is better if you can send me a picture or a picture or two from where you're requesting it, if I can have a signature. All of those things coming additional to what traditional procurement has been doing. So beyond this point, it is going in the SAP S/4HANA and creating a PR in real time. And the good thing is the person doesn't need to know that what happens between the systems. He doesn't need to know the acronyms of SAP at all. So here we got this purchase requisition coming right from SAP 294. We're going to further track it down. And log into the SAP side. So it would go in the ME53 or ME51 just to check the PR that was created through the mobile app. It is available here. And that's the entry. We just did it through the Android phone. So you see that the value point is very enormous. I put it in two different perspectives. Number one, for any reason, if you lose the connectivity at the plant, your team can still function. You still have all the way executing it. Although it is all happening offline, you still create a PR. Doesn't matter whether your SAP is up or not, or whether the plant is connected to SAP or not. You still create offline PR with a temp number, and as soon it connects back to SAP, it will automatically create the PR. So it is freeing up from the person that I might forget to create it. And that creates a great outcome. So there's a question, pictures I understand, but why do we need a GPS location for a requisition system? Yes, correct. With the definition of requisition, you may not need. But when you have a multiple different areas in the plant and where you need these materials, it does bring those kind of value visibilities where the utilization will happen. So not in all the cases, but in many cases it is valuable. There's a question around the sensors. Yes, the IoT sensors come connected to that. So we do provide the IoT sensors, which are pre-integrated to the mobility, and they also connect to your other systems. So Jennifer, I think we hit right at 3 o'clock. I would say thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your time, and you all have a wonderful day.